I discovered the one thing that separates agencies that make $10,000 or more a month from the agencies that struggle to even make their very first dollar. This single strategy actually took me from making $1,500 a month with my AI agency to now making well over $10,000 a month consistently. Not only that, but it's also how I started earning sponsorship money and connecting with some of the top entrepreneurs in the space. So if you want to build an AI agency that makes more than $10,000 a month before 2026, make sure to grab a pen or pencil and watch along. Because in this video, I'll break down the number one problem that plagues almost every AI agency, and then I'm going to show you something I like to call the authority growth method that actually lets you get rid of this problem completely and start hyperscaling your AI agency. If you're new here, my name's Tommy Christ. I'm the founder of Arose AI. In the last 3 months, I've booked well over 100 intro calls with real business owners that's led to over $40,000 in my pocket using exclusively this authority growth method of acquiring clients. And on this channel, I share everything I learned running my AI agency and give it to you for completely free. Now, before we hop into the video, I do want to mention you can actually get all the resources in this video for completely free. If you just join my community, it should be the top link below. Now let's hop into it. Now let's talk about the number one problem every AI agency runs into, but most don't even address. And that's that leads are pretty much the only thing that matters when trying to build and scale your AI agency. Now, a lot of people actually focus on creating AI agents and stuff like that. But if you run an agency, I can tell you firsthand, there's really only one thing that matters, and that's lead flow. Because when you have consistent, high quality leads coming in, almost every other problem you think you have disappears. For example, if you're not making enough money, easy, just choose the most valuable projects from your infinite pool of leads and raise your prices. I know you won't actually have an infinite pool of leads, but you have to consider this. If you had a wait list of 100 people with their credit cards out waiting to buy, if you had a ton of leads, which some AI agencies do who use this authority growth method, then it will solve all these problems. Then, are you dealing with nightmare clients? You can just replace them with better ones the next week. Are your projects too complicated or draining? You can just say no and take the simpler ones instead. Are you having cash flow issues? Well, leads mean predictability, and predictability means stability, which means you can then hire and scale without worrying about losing all your money and your business going under. Are you worried your offer isn't perfect? Well, when you've got a full pipeline, you have the breathing room to actually refine it while still getting paid. Then, are you struggling with motivation and keeping up with your business? Well, I can tell you firsthand, nothing motivates like momentum, and there's really nothing that creates momentum faster than new opportunities hitting your inbox every day. And so with that, every agency problem, such as pricing, fulfillment, hiring, systems, it all gets easier when you have leverage, and that leverage comes from demand for your services. And so that's why your number one job as an agency owner isn't fulfillment, branding, or even operations. It's owning your lead flow, because if you can turn opportunity on and off like a faucet, you're never stuck and you're actually in control of your business. So what's the best way to get an unethical amount of leads? The answer is authority growth. Now, I have a little graph here showing you the authority growth flywheel and cold outreach. And cold outreach, trust me, is how I started my agency and my agency before this, and it's how I wasted a ton of time. And authority growth is how I actually hyperscaled my current agency. And so if we look at this authority growth flywheel, you can see there's 3 main things here. And that's content at the center of it, which then leads into authority, which then leads to clients. And then I have this asterisk of sort of like sponsorship, deals, etc. Now, what this means is you create content. You create content that is educational, shows off what you and your agency can actually do for clients. And then that builds authority because people watch that content and they see exactly how you could build that for them. Makes a lot of sense, right? It's the same as a lead magnet or anything else. You see this with top creators like Alex Hormozi. You can obviously sell a $50,000 consulting package because you can see his hundreds of videos of him doing consulting for your business. And so it's just a ton of free value. And with that authority, obviously comes clients. The first person they're going to think of when they need an AI agent is you, because you taught them what it was, how to build it, and why they're useful. And a little plus on this, people will sponsor you. I have sponsored videos. I had sponsored videos with under 400 subscribers on my channel. AI is a great niche to get sponsored by startups and stuff like that. And so that's an added bonus. And one thing with content is that it's unlimited leverage. You could make a 20-minute video that took you an hour to make, and it could be watched a million times. And it doesn't take you an hour for every view. Whereas, and we'll get to it with cold outreach, that's not the same case. So just know content is unlimited leverage. It builds authority extremely quickly, and that helps you get clients very easily, super easy to close clients as well with that authority versus cold outreach. And now one thing you might notice is missing is one, it's not a flywheel. So it doesn't feed itself, because when you have more clients, you're actually able to make more content because you're doing more stuff, you're learning more, you can share more about the business. And so you don't have that flywheel. You don't have this authority being built because no one outside of your one individual client, which is one person, knows what you're actually doing. Whereas if you make content and videos, you can see, some of my videos have thousands of views. I don't have thousands of clients, but thousands of people now know the impact I can make on their business because I've shown them how to build an AI agent. And so cold messages, because they're one-to-one, just has limited leverage. You're limited in how many messages you could send. And with each cold message you send, it's added time on top. Now, I know there are automation tools and extra stuff to make that a lot easier. You can hire VAs, but it just can't compare with content. That's why you see all the biggest creators making so much money and all the big businesses betting on content. And so it's not that cold outreach isn't a way to get clients. It's just the authority growth method is so much better, especially if you want to actually build this unethical amount of leads that solves every problem in your agency. Now, you might be thinking, what platform should I actually use to build this authority and get clients? I'm glad you asked that. YouTube, the platform you're on right now watching me. Because when it comes to building authority in the AI space, YouTube isn't just another platform, it's the platform. And here's why. First, it's the world's second largest search engine. So when someone has a problem with their business or wants to learn about AI agents, where do they go? YouTube. They're not scrolling TikTok or even LinkedIn for business solutions. They're searching YouTube for step-by-step clear tutorials and expert breakdowns. Now, second, long-form content actually builds real trust. Because think about it, anybody can make a 30-second TikTok claiming they're an expert, but when you can hold someone's attention for 10 to 15 minutes or longer while walking them through building an actual AI voice agent, that's when they start to think this person actually knows what they're talking about. And then third, YouTube rewards expertise over entertainment. This is because the algorithm isn't just promoting viral dances and stuff like that to real business owners. It wants valuable content that keeps people on the platform for a long period of time. And so when you're teaching someone how to actually automate real calls with AI, for example, YouTube pushes that content because it's genuinely useful and people are watching it through to the end. And then fourth, it's where business owners actually consume educational content. Your ideal clients, yes, your ideal clients, the ones that pay $3,000 to $25,000 for AI solutions, they're not on TikTok during work hours or when they're trying to find these solutions. They're on YouTube learning how to solve their business problems and looking for people who can do it. And then finally, YouTube content has a shelf life because the tutorial you make today, and I've seen this again firsthand about building an AI receptionist, it'll still be getting views and booking calls for you 2 years from now. And so try getting that longevity from an Instagram story or a TikTok. It just doesn't exist. Even the biggest TikToks, nobody's watching them over and over again now. And so YouTube isn't just about content creation anymore. It's about authority creation. And in the AI agency space, authority equals clients and really easy closes and really high paying projects. So let's hop into the authority growth playbook and how to actually make your very first authority growth YouTube video. And so first, let's touch on why these videos work. And remember, you are not trying to be the next Mr. Beast. You want to make niche, highly valuable content because you're an agency owner with a YouTube channel, not a YouTuber with an agency. And this is actually a good thing. It means your videos don't have to be perfect. They just need to be helpful. And so here are some examples. This first one is sort of this beginner's guide to Facebook ads in 2025. One note, if you ever hit over 100,000 views on a video, unless you're completely incompetent, should be making like 50 grand a month with your AI agency. That's like a huge hit. My biggest video has like only 10,000 views. And then here's another one, 190,000 views, how to build AI agents in N8N for beginners, full N8N guide. Then here's my first video that ever popped off. You can see the quality like is horrible. If you go back and watch it, like I'm telling you, it does not need to be fancy. And that has 8,000 views now. It had a couple thousand, within a month or two. And that was enough to, really start to scale my agency. And like you just saw, you want to focus on these how to build X videos that attract your dream clients because they literally show off your expertise instead of pitching. They give your audience massive value up front and they naturally position you as a go-to authority. So step one in doing this is to pick a broad idea. Start with something you already know well or can build, something that solves a pain for your target audience. And so this is an actual screenshot of my brainstorming list. I don't show everything here, but something like, AI voice agents explained in X minutes, non-technical guide, the complete beginner's guide to building your first AI voice agent, what an AI audit is and why you need one. Those are some really simple examples, and you can just throw it on a Miro board like you just saw me, or on a Google Doc like this, all the information, and talk over it. You'll see me in the corner. You can just copy my exact style. And that's why I wanted to show a Miro board and a Google Doc in this, just to show you all the stuff you can do. You saw some examples here. Here are some other examples. And, you want to make the title a bit catchier. I put, a dollar amount in this one. And so, yeah, the idea is really important, but you want to make it simple and something you already know how to build. And so just think, what's something you've built, automated, or improved that others would want too. Now, let's focus on the most important part of the video. Once you already have an idea, you need to focus on the packaging. And a lot of people ignore this when first making YouTube videos, because this includes the thumbnail and the hook. And these two simple things control the two most important metrics YouTube looks at when deciding to promote your video. The thumbnail controls your click-through rate, which is basically out of how many people who see your video, how many click on it, and your hook controls your watch time. So if you go back to the beginning of this video, watch like the first minute of it, that's the hook in the intro. And if you got past that point, it's really likely you're actually watching this here now. Whereas if you got dropped off there, you're obviously not going to continue watching. And so you can have the best video ever, but if your thumbnail and hook are bad, YouTube won't show your video to anyone and it'll just completely flop. So how do you make good thumbnails? So step two is to collect some thumbnail inspiration. And so here's a screenshot from what I actually give my thumbnail editor, which is I have a huge bank of thumbnails I like. So here's an example of some fear-based ones. Here's some positive ones. I have a bunch in there, all of them like labeled and categorized. And so you want to search for thumbnails outside your niche. Look at some of the top creators across YouTube. You want big, bold, readable text, emotion and expression, simple contrast, not clutter. You can see that in all of these. And just find at the start 3 to 5 thumbnails you like and notice what draws you in. Is it the color, the layout, the emotion they show, maybe the text and what it says on it? And you can make this thumbnail. I started out in Canva. As you can see, mine, it wasn't too great there. The quality, it was pretty bad. But, if you get a thumbnail editor, you can get something that looks a lot more like this. And comment down below if you want a full video on how I actually used to make my YouTube videos completely by myself, and I can make a much longer, more in-depth tutorial. Now, next step is step 3, where you want to write a punchy hook. And hooks decide if people keep watching after clicking. For this hook, you want to call it a pain, promise a win, or make a big claim. For example, you could say, I automated this entire client's onboarding in 10 minutes and it used to take 5 hours. This free tool just replaced $1,000 a month of software that this company was running. The AI bubble is massive right now. It's true $1 trillion, and AI companies are only making $20 billion a year. Something like that would be some examples. And then after that hook, you want to explain the rest of the video and give context so the viewer is never confused, because that's when they click off, is when they don't know what's going on. And so you could look at this video or any of my videos for examples. This is one from a recent video where I basically just said, in this video, I said exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you how to use this new voice. I'm going to give you my honest comparison and explain why it's a game changer. And then I introduce who I am and sort of my authority of why I deserve to talk about this topic and why you should pay attention. And so I actually would recommend writing 10 to 15 hooks for your video. You don't need to rewrite this part, simply, that first line or two. And don't overthink it. Just test what sounds natural when you say it out loud. It should be catchy, but it should also confirm why they clicked on the video, and it should match with the thumbnail. Remember, the title, the hook, and the thumbnail all are working together to make a really good, clickable, and watchable video. And so once you've got all the packaging done, you have an idea, you need to build an outline. And for this, just keep it simple. I just have enough structure to make sure I stay on track. And so my framework is, the hook, the intro. I talk about what tools I'll use in the build. I actually do the build step by step and sort of talk people through it. Then I show whatever the results are, the outcome of the build. And then I have some sort of, soft CTA about working more with me or learning more. For example, in this video, I gave a CTA to my free community. And so here's a little example outline. Whatever your hook is, an intro, we just went over that. Then go over the tools you're going to use. Actually just screen record and show the setup. I use OBS. I used to just use Loom for all this. I would record with my webcam. And then wrap it up, show the results, and then call to action. You want to make sure you always have a call to action, or else it's sort of pointless. People won't know that you have the book a call link down below. And so you want to make sure that's really obvious that you are an AI agency and you're looking to build these solutions for anybody watching. And then step 5 is to actually plan the filming. Because if you do all those steps and don't plan how and when you're going to film it, you're just going to procrastinate and never get to it. And again, just don't overcomplicate it. Use whatever you have. You don't have to go out there and get some fancy setup. I mean, I started literally with only my computer. I didn't even use my phone for audio, nothing. And I didn't even have a webcam. And so just use what you have. It could be your phone or a built-in webcam on your computer. Screen record for all the demos. Again, you could use something like Loom, but I recommend OBS now. It's free to download. And then all you need is a quiet space, maybe some natural light. I have a lighting that I actually bought. And so if you have that too, that's great. And again, I started with only my computer and recording in my parents' basement. So I don't want to hear any excuses from you guys. And so make sure you record in as few shots possible, because one clean take is way better than like 10 perfect ones. And so use your outline as a guide and really only script the hook and the intro, because if you script the whole video, it'll sound scripted, and it's really just not necessary for these step-by-step tutorials for you to say the perfect thing every time. Now, before you actually record, make sure you decide on when you're going to film, where you'll film, and what setup you'll use. And so this makes it easy for you. All those decisions are out of the way, and you can actually just get the filming done. Trust me, filming is like the one thing everybody procrastinates as a YouTuber. And so to wrap up the video, I actually have a challenge and an extra little goodie for you guys. So now you know how to decide on a topic for your video, how to find thumbnail inspiration, create a hook, create an outline, and you should know how to actually plan your filming. So your challenge is to film and post your video within the next 7 days. And then once the video is live, share in my free community, you can get a bunch of free views from the over 2,000 people in there. And if you put the hashtag TommyIsTheGOAT in the post, I will personally give you feedback on how you did to help you improve and scale your agency. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click the top link down below to actually join my free community, and I'll see you in the next video.